All right, there's Mercury in Cancer. So Mercury in Cancer, this person thinks deeply. When they think, and then when they talk, they sound very, emotional. They can, they're basically, they can make you, feel some type of way when they speak. They might be talking about what they're doing, or how they feel about what they're doing, and then you kind of feel the same way. They have a way about talking to people. They know how to manipulate people by the way they sound. It's how they sound when they're describing things. These people do shit like that. They can convince you of all kind of stuff. And these people are intuitive. They can, they actually are. They know how to see and, know about things also that are not obviously, stated. They can tell if you are, hiding something about yourself, or if you're feeling, or you're exhibiting, certain, types of, characteristics, outwardly to the public, but they could tell what's actually going on inside of you, but they may let you know, they may not, but they know if, you're actually just putting on a front or not. These people can see past that shit. And they also typically think about other people. They care about a lot too. That's what they do. It's not the best way to think about things, but, that's how these people think. And they think about their loved ones, the people they care about a lot. And they can also be, people who like to bring up the past a lot too, and use the, feelings in a negative way. The way they feel about the past to make you feel upset about it. Say you did something to them in the past, right? And you're somebody they care about. I remember that you did this to me, and, we were supposed to do this and that, but you went off and did da 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 da. I feel, this way about it, deeply hurt, this and that, and they might be crying or, getting angry or about it, the situation, but they're bringing up the past here to make you feel some type of way. These people are good at manipulating people. I try to, not fuck around with stuff like that. I don't do shit like that, personally, but those people do. They kind of remind people, what's important too. It's not all about you, or, deeper connections do matter. Those people know that. And not all of them, but, most of them, and people who have this Mercury placement typically are, Cancers, Leos, Geminis. Because Mercury is a planet that stays close to where the sun sign is. So those are the people who typically have the Mercury in Cancer. They're able to convince people of things, They also can, see into, what's actually going on with somebody on the inside, as opposed to what's going on with them externally. That's what they look at when they look at people. And then these people are very creative thinkers, so they're probably artistic. They like to, not think about, plain old shit that everybody else thinks about, numbers and letters and shit like a wind chimer might do, or just do things and not really, be too deep about it. We're just doing this, and we're doing this. They're getting deep about it, and they're like, how do I feel when I'm doing this? This is what they think like. They do shit like that. That's the Cancer and Mercury. But if you have Cancer and Mercury, it don't mean you're, stupid necessarily. You gotta, be around the right people. So you ain't always emotional, thinking negative things. Oh, people don't want to be deep, and he caused what I have to do, or my loved ones might not, care about me as much as I care about them. That might be true, but you have to just be around the ones who, appreciate you and appreciate your insight into, what they might be going through. You might be a good person to talk to, about deeper things going on in life. People might have problems with, something, and they come to you because they know that you are a person that talks or likes to talk with people about, trauma and this and that, or you might, make plans to do something, special, with that person, fun with that person. But, it depends, these people, I like that. But that is Mercury and Cancer for you. But be cool on the corner, or try to.